For our presentation, we did the Guatemala and the Cold War by Ada, Ayaya, and Connor. So Guatemala is a country located in Central America. It borders Honduras and Belize and Mexico. So before the Cold War, after the Great Depression, their economy was greatly damaged when President Jorge Ubico was elected in 1931. He attempted to boost the economy by using cruel labor policies, banning free speech, and militarizing the government. The United Fruit Company, UFCO, an American company that traded tropical fruit, greatly benefited by displacing farmers and turning farmland into banana plantations. The Guatemalan people were very unhappy, and an anti-fascism movement was sparked. Ubico was overthrown in 1944, shortly before the start of the Cold War, and was replaced by a military junta who organized the first democratic election.
The first elected president was Juan José Arevalo, who had many social reform policies. He was in office from 1944 to 1951 and was followed by President Jacobo Arbenz. By now, the Cold War has been going on for 4 years. Arbenz wanted to make Guatemala more capitalist and passed Decree 900, which transferred uncultivated land to landless peasants, benefiting 500,000 people. However, 80,000 hectares of unused UFCO land was given to peasants, and their business was otherwise negatively impacted by the end of brutal labor.
Not only did the United States view this land distribution as communist, the UFCO's PR expert, Edward Bernays, visited Guatemala to collect evidence of communism and used it in a propaganda campaign against Arbenz. It was in their best interest to convince the United States that Guatemala was becoming communists, so that they could return to the unethical labor practices that made the most money. President Eisenhower authorized the CIA to arm and fund a force led by Carlos Castillo Armas to stage a coup and overthrow the Guatemalan president. Using military force and psychological warfare, like broadcasted propaganda, Castillo Armas was successful and Arbenz was exiled to Mexico. Castillo Armas became the president of Guatemala just 10 days later, being the only candidate, and a period of intense repressions, civil war, and human rights abuses began. There were many anti-government guerrilla groups, and these conflicts ended up starting the Guatemala Civil War. Peace accords were signed in 1996, and there have been democratic elections since.